If I were the head of GTM at Spendflo, here's exactly how I'd break into commercial accounts like BillGo, through mid-market all the way to enterprise accounts like Stripe and NetApp. So step one is I would do a closed won analysis. In this case, we've done a logo analysis of all of their customer logos. Step two is I would define ICP and tiering on an account level and a persona level. Step three is I would look at my existing customer network to identify the lowest hanging fruits, the warmest paths into target accounts. And step four, I'd leverage 2 playbooks to book warm meetings with these target accounts. I'd get my CSMs and AMs to reach out to customers directly at times of peak satisfaction, asking for warm intros. And the second playbook is I get my BDRs and AEs to cold call prospects, name dropping our shared contact, okay, so our existing customer, the problem they faced, how we help them solve it, and whether they'd experienced something similar now or in the past. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So we're on Spendflo's website, okay? They sell intake to procure software, so procurement software to procurement teams. But we have to be mindful of that finance also feel the problem, okay? Decentralized spend, duplicate spend, lack of visibility is also a finance issue. So they sell procurement software to finance and procurement people. And if we head over to their customer stories, we can see a whole bunch of logos, and we can take all of those logos, get their websites, decide whether to include yes or no, depending on are they a customer logo, are they a case study logo, etc. Filter by all of the no's, and we can add that into Freckle. So new table, upload as a CSV in here, and we can see here we've actually, like we said, filtered by contains yes on the include column. And then we've got all of this extra information that we've enriched on the company level. So city, country, industry, funding, short description, employees, etc. And we've enriched, and we've also enriched with the number of people in the procurement team. Okay, and we can see that in a lot of these cases, there's actually no procurement team found. And I have worked at a procurement tech company, and this is very normal. Okay, so we've got the size of the procurement team. From that, we can work out, are they premature? Are they on track in terms of their procurement maturity, given the employee size? And we can start to work out how procurement works in that company. Is it decentralized? Does it sit within a procurement function, etc., etc.? So we've exported this data set. We've chucked it into Claude. We've done an AI QA. Okay, are all the employee counts correct? You know, are the countries correct? Are the industries correct? And things like that. And we've also done a manual QA because the underlying data needs to be good. We've then done a logo analysis, so on a global level, so breaking it down by all the different segments, so SMB, commercial, mid-market, small enterprise, and large enterprise, procurement team distribution, industry splits, country, city, employees, and then obviously we've done exactly the same, but for the different segments, okay? So SMB, okay, we've got no accounts. Commercial, we've got 16 accounts. What's the split within that segment? Then we've got mid-market, so 11 accounts, again, the split. For small enterprise, 4 accounts, and then 0 accounts for large enterprise. Okay, cool. So we've got all of the data there. We can also look at procurement maturity. So for SMB, okay, we don't have any data, we can ignore that one. For commercial, actually 94% don't have a procurement team, okay? So we really want to be targeting no procurement team in that bracket. We've got mid-market, okay, 91% are between 0 to 1, okay? So a small underserved procurement team. And then for small enterprise, 2 to 6 people is 100%, okay? If they've got 10 people, chances are they've probably already got a lot of the software already in place. So a lot of this makes sense. And from that, we can start to figure out what the account tiering looks like. So 90% of their accounts are in North America, so US, but we've also got 6% in India and 3% in the UK. In terms of segments, we're not going to target SMB, they don't have any accounts. We're not going to target large enterprise, they don't have any accounts. Let's target commercial, mid-market, and small enterprise. That being said, if a large enterprise company wants to work with you, great, we'll absolutely work that account. But in terms of the lowest hanging fruit, who we should primarily target as an outbound motion, these 3 make the most sense. Okay, we've also created A and B lists. If we go back to logo analysis, we can see that IT and services, tech and software is about 70%. Then we've got financial services and internet coming in second. Okay, and then if we actually look at the breakdowns across commercial, okay, IT and services again. If we look at mid-market, IT and services, financial services comes in at second. Small enterprise, IT and services. So yeah, we're getting tech and software coming out on top. So if we head over to account tiering, we've got tech and software businesses as 1A. I think financial services is a good little 1B. And then obviously everyone else can be 1C. So we've got some like sub-prioritization within the different tiers. And then for tiering, well, again, I've worked at a procurement tech company, so I have real data to back this up as well as this analysis. Based on the analysis as well, it makes sense to target premature procurement teams. And obviously that prematurity will look very different at commercial versus mid-market versus enterprise. So tier 1, very premature, procurement well below where it should be for that segment, e.g. mid-market, decentralized with no procurement team, or small enterprise with very small procurement team compared to headcount. Tier 2 needs to be premature, so small procurement team for that segment, or a signal. So it could be an M&A and in the last 12 months, because if there's been an M&A, chances are that there's a big software consolidation exercise that needs to take place. And so that's going to be higher on the priority list. And what does an intake to procure platform do? It helps with renewals. It helps with streamlining procurement. So it's very, very relevant signal. And then a CFO or a CPO change in the last 6 months. Okay, so if they don't have a procurement team, then the CPO is not going to be relevant, but if they do, then it will be relevant. Okay, and then tier 3 is everybody else. So we've then applied that to commercial, mid-market, small enterprise. So commercial, tier 1 is 0 procurement team. Tier 2 is 1 person or a signal. Tier 3 is 2+. Mid-market, again, 0 procurement people. Tier 2, 1 to 2 people or signal. Tier 3, 3+, etc. You get the point. And then in terms of persona tiering, we've got finance leadership coming out on top. This is from their website, but also their top customers. So chief VP, director, head of finance. Procurement leadership, so chief VP, director, head of procurement. If they don't have a procurement team, then obviously you wouldn't go after that, you go after finance. In the instance where there is no procurement leadership, we would also target IT leadership. And the reason is a lot of the software renewals would sit with them without a procurement team. And so they become a tier 1 persona. Obviously, if they have a standard procurement team, IT leadership falls to a tier 2. Same with technology leadership, okay? And then tier 3 is going to be your procurement managers, your finance managers. They don't really have much sway, but they could be potential champions if we're struggling to find and engage a tier 1 or tier 2. So great, we've got our ICP and tiering for Spendflo. Now we can actually go and find some of their real customers, and we've got, how many here? What's this? 6 customers, still in the company, still in a similar role, and we can load these into Cluster. And what Cluster will do is it will analyze their network to see who they know that are also a persona for Spendflo so that we can get a warm intro. And so I really, really like this example here. So Josh Rappaport, who is a happy customer, and actually if we go back to this list, VP of Finance at Acumatica, he knows pretty well Sam Barker, who's VP Head of Finance at BillGo. BillGo are between 51 to 200 employees. The exact is around 150. So unlikely to have a procurement team for now, but there is likely to be some software spend and they could potentially benefit from some intake to procure software to help centralize procurement. So how do these guys know each other? Well, let's dig into the relationship. So Sam actually endorsed Josh on LinkedIn, and there's been some other engagement as well. They worked for 2+ years in their career, so at BillGo and Microsoft. There is a high closeness to their relationship. Bearing in mind, we've got 17 high quality warm intros from those 6 customers. I've filtered out a whole bunch. We only go for scores above a certain percentage. We've only gone for companies that have 51+ employees, and we've got roots into Microsoft. We've got roots into Stripe, CBRE, Mozilla, and yeah, some really good warm intros here. But if we were to think about how can we break into BillGo as an example, well, there's 2 use cases we can use. We can look at the AM CSM use case. So we can go to our happy customer, Josh Rappaport, okay? And we can say, hey, Josh, we know you're a great customer. We know you're really happy with our platform. Would you be happy to give us a warm intro to Sam? I know that clusters see around a 40% conversion rate from a request to a meeting booked across their customer base. And so we can go straight to our customer, ask for the warm intro. And just in terms of how we should time those intros, you need to adapt to the customer lifecycle. So we can think about Spendflo. What do? They help companies save money through centralizing and bringing structure and order to procurement. Okay, so when an account saves their first 100K on software with Spendflo, an AM CSM can get notified in Slack. They can then go and congratulate the decision makers saying, look, hey, you've just saved 100K. So maybe it's the procurement professional, the procurement manager who's using Spendflo, but they can go and congratulate the CPO or the CFO and say, look, we've just saved 100K. Request feedback and ask for a warm intro. So we could then ask for, obviously, the Sam Barker warm intro. Now, if we booked a meeting, great, we can finish. If we didn't book a meeting, we can actually notify the BDR or AE in Slack, and they can then go and reach out to Sam directly, name dropping that we work with Josh, we helped him get these sorts of results, and how they currently manage procurement over at BillGo. Now, because he's a finance persona, it's going to be more about visibility into software spend. It's going to be about controlling software spend, very much a financial point of view. So the other use case is the BDR AE use case. Okay, so BDRs and AEs can name drop shared contacts on cold calls to turn them into instant warm calls. Okay, why? Because it builds trust early in the call. You're going to have more conversations. You're going to book more qualified meetings. I am a cold caller. I help cluster. I help tech startups do this. The opening of a conversation is the most important part. And if I can build trust there, I've got a conversation. More conversations, more qualified meetings. Okay, so I would go straight to Sam, referencing we work with Josh. Now for a messaging example. So it could look like this. Sam. Hi, Sam. This is Joe from Spendflo. Appreciate you weren't expecting a call. I just wondered if you had a brief moment. And now we've got two options. We can go straight into more of a cold type opener where we reference Josh, or we can approach this like we're talking to a friend of a friend. So I'll do the more cold style first. Before coming to us, Josh Rappaport. So immediately he's like, oh, I know Josh. How does this guy know Josh? I'm not saying I know you know Josh. I'm saying Josh. Immediately he's gone from system one to, okay, I'm paying attention now. I know this guy. What is this person about to say? Cool. So before coming to us, Josh Rappaport from Acumatica faced several challenges around decentralized software buying. His team were purchasing SaaS independently with no central oversight or visibility, and downstream of this, finance were paying for like duplicate licenses. They were getting caught out on auto renewals, and they didn't really have a process in place to ensure they negotiate a good rate. So I'm just curious, how much visibility do you currently have into software spend at BillGo? Now, the alternative approach, friend of a friend, is, hey, so look, I'm calling because Josh Rappaport from Acumatica saved around 375K in software costs with Spendflo. I see you used to work together at Microsoft and BillGo, and so I just wondered if what we're solving for him might actually be a problem at your current company as well. Specifically, teams were purchasing SaaS independently with no central oversight or visibility. Downstream of this, finance were paying for duplicate licenses, getting caught out on auto renewals, and they didn't really have a process in place to ensure they negotiated good rates. So I'm just curious, how much visibility do you currently have into software spend at BillGo? And then wait and listen to what they have to say. So you can see here, we've got two great use cases, right? We can go straight to the customer and ask for the intro, 40% rate from request to meet and booked, or BDRs and AEs can go and approach prospects directly, mentioning that we work with this person, and it's like a friend of a friend. We're turning a cold call into a warm call. So just to summarize what we've done, we have taken Spendflo's customers, we've analyzed their logos, we've enriched in Freckle, we've built out their whole tiering on an account level and persona level. We've taken some of their top customers, we've uploaded them into Cluster, we've found some key relationships into target accounts, and then we've actually thought, how can we use that warm data to break into those accounts? And that's a wrap. Any questions, drop in the comments. If you want to map your customers' network to find warm paths into target accounts, book a demo with Cluster using the link in the description. And if you're a B2B tech company looking to build out your sales motion here in the UK, book a call with Demand House, link in the description to that as well.